is Taylor, and me and my roommates thought it'd be super cool and super helpful and encouraging just to share our testimonies and just how great God is. And yeah, because a verse in Revelations 12:11, I believe, is like, and they overcame through the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimonies. It just shows how important testimonies are and how important and how helpful they can be. And that's why I'm sharing mine. So, I sort of, kind of, not really grew up in a Christian home. Both my mom and dad were raised Catholic. My dad has now, became a Christian. So, just like when we were younger, we went to the Catholic church, but that kind of, soon died off. My parents became the, typical American family. Church wasn't really important. And we'd still go with our, aunts, because my mom's side is super Catholic, but we wouldn't really actually go. And I just remember in preschool, I went to a Lutheran preschool, which is, Diet Catholic is what I've had it been called. It's just still, I guess, super religious. But then again, that also died off when I moved and just went to, a regular preschool. So, just, for most of my life, soccer was super important and just, going to school, so I didn't really go to church. I just was a typical American family. But in 7th grade, my best friend at the time, shout out to Callie, asked me to go to church with her. And I was super hesitant and super, but I went anyways. And I remember the first service I went to was dyeing Easter eggs. Because it was the youth church. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I just have to dye Easter eggs. I'm not doing anything. So I continued to go back, and then eventually, we did learn about Jesus and the gospel and God. And I, was super involved in it, and I super liked it. And I really just enjoyed learning about God. So I'd continue to go back with her every Sunday, and I really enjoyed it. Except it was youth church, which I guess it's great and all, but youth churches can be super watered down and super not as helpful as main service churches because they don't want to offend any kids, which I didn't really notice at the time, but now looking back, I saw this. And then eventually, I mentioned I liked soccer and I played soccer. That became just super big in my life. Is every Saturday, every Sunday was just soccer games, soccer games, soccer games. So church soon didn't even become a thing for me. And eventually the pastor of the church I went to moved to another church. And my friend followed that pastor because she was really involved with the family and really enjoyed them. So eventually in, I think it was high school, she asked me to come back to church with her. And I did. And it was super fun, but I think I realized I just went for the social aspect. I didn't really, I love God, I love Jesus, and I called myself a Christian, I thought I was a Christian, but I didn't really, at the time, realize I was just going for the social aspect. I really didn't do it because I wanted to have a full-on relationship with Jesus. It was relationships with my friends, not relationship with Jesus. So, I did the church camps, I went to retreats, mission trips, all that jazz, and I believe, my senior year, I went on a retreat to Aitahaji in Bailey, Colorado, which is where I'm from. And at the time, my family was going through really rough financial struggles because the summer before we were homeless for the summer. We lived in a hotel, and then also with my mom's sister. We lived in her basement for a while. So it's just, we were going through rough financial struggles, which was just really hard and painful and all that. But during that time, we had a mini, service our pastor did. And one of the questions, he asked a question, he had us close our eyes, and he asked us whether we were not a Christian, lukewarm, or a Christian. And I raised my hand for lukewarm, which I didn't understand this at the time, but there's no such thing as a lukewarm Christian. It's, you're either a Christian or you're not. There's no in between, which a lot of people don't want to hear because it's super, offensive. They don't want to be seen as a bad person. They're saying that you're not a Christian, it's just bad. But there's also a verse in Revelations, which is looking it up for you guys, which is Revelations 3:15 through 16. It's I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish that you were cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. It's just saying God doesn't want you to be lukewarm. There's if you're lukewarm, you're essentially cold. You're not a Christian. You're not following after Him. And just the fact I raised my hand at the time showed that I wasn't saved, that I didn't know Jesus. Like, I knew of him, I didn't know him. So later on during that trip, we had prayer time, and like I mentioned, my family was going through like financial problems, and I just like broke down. I was like, Lord, I need your help. I can't do this on my own. I need you. I need you in my life. I can't do this. So whenever people ask me, I said that was my test. That was my testimony. That's the moment I gave my life to Jesus. And I like believed it for a while, even though I actually wasn't. Like, I was so on fire for Jesus afterwards. Like, I loved him so much, and all I wanted to do was just go to church. But being me and typical American, I just didn't follow through with that. I just went to school, went to soccer, and just hung with my friends. I still went back to church, I just didn't want that relationship. And so I eventually came up to CSU, go Rams, and the second week of school, I met a minister, and she actually asked me she gave me a survey, and on that survey was questions like, do you believe in God, where do you think you're going to go when you die, and why do you believe this? And I was like, well, I clicked that, I thought I was going to go to heaven, and the question's like, why do you believe this? And I said, hope so I'll go to heaven. And when I clicked the things, it's like, reasons why, it's like, I'm a good person, I believe in God, blah, blah, blah. And she asked me, it's like, why do you believe this? I'm like, well, you can never be sure that you can actually go to heaven. And she's like, well, did you know in the Bible that it says, like, there is a way to go to heaven? I'm like, what? I didn't know this. And she told me about repentance, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've totally done that. I mean, I gave my life to Jesus at Camp Rajahaji, and that's what I just said in my testimony was. So I set up a Bible study with her, and went to church with her, and I did this for a whole entire semester, and this whole entire time I thought I was saved, I thought I was a Christian, and all that, but every time our pastor would be like, how you made that decision to give your life to Jesus? And in my heart, I knew I didn't. Like, I just never admitted it. Like, I knew I wasn't saved, but I thought it would make me seem like a bad person that I admit that I wasn't saved. So I played that game for a whole entire semester. And then when I came back from winter break, the second week of the semester, I had a Bible study with Maggie. And she, like, straight out told me, like, you're not saved. And that was something I absolutely needed to hear, because I was so stuck in my pride that I was not going to admit that I wasn't saved. Just the fact she told me that, it was just like eye-opening, and like my eyes were open, my ears were open, like I understood now. And I just like looked at her, I'm like, yeah, I know you're right. And then she's like, is this something you want? And I was like, yeah, like this is absolutely what I want. I want to follow Jesus 100%, give my life to him 100%, which is what repentance is. So in that Bible study, at 8 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, January 30th, 2013, I finally swallowed all my pride and gave my life to Jesus, which was super awesome. And like I understood now, like I wasn't saved, and like everything I had ever done wrong, like how hurtful it was to God, because he gave his only son for us on that cross. And it's just so powerful, and like the only thing I can ever think of to give in return is my life, because he gave his life for us. And even my life doesn't measure up to that, because he never physically, like, I wasn't there at the time, like, it's just amazing, like, he never, I mean, he knows me, but he didn't, like, know me in person, and he gave his life for me, and it's so incredible. And it's just like, the only thing I can give in return is my life. And ever since then, like, life has been great. I have technically four amazing roommates who all follow after the Lord as well. I have a church which is absolutely amazing, which is my home. I've never felt like I belonged anywhere, and once I came up to this church, I found my home, and each and every day I just live my life with Jesus. And yeah, that's my testimony. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'm not going to ask you to comment or like or subscribe, all that jazz. I just want you to share this testimony with someone, because maybe it can help them, maybe it helps you. I asked you to share with someone. Thanks.